Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. We are back. I am now doing the NFC division predictions for the 2025-2026 NFL season. If you enjoy the content, make sure you do like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. With that being said, let's get to it. And starting up in the North with the number 4 team, and I'm gonna preface this right off the bat. The NFC was way harder than the AFC. Absolutely, any of these teams could have been swapped around and you could make an argument either way, but this is all my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. Number 4, we have the Minnesota Vikings. I'll be honest, I don't believe in JJ yet. I don't trust him. I haven't seen it. He got injured last year. How am I supposed to put faith into a guy that I haven't seen yet? So for me, I just don't trust JJ quite yet, so we'll see what he's got. I think their secondary has a lot of questions. I'm just not blown away by anything on this team besides wide receiver, and that's just because of Justin Jefferson. I think they have a really tough schedule. They came in second place in their division last year, so they have a tougher schedule, and it just looks really rough on paper, in my opinion. I think they overperformed last year with Sam Darnold. I think Sam and everybody has their thoughts on Sam Darnold, even me, but I think Sam Darnold kind of masked a lot of the things because he is a veteran quarterback. He has played in this league for a while, so I think he masked a lot of the incompetencies that you would normally see with a team this young, in my opinion. So I think we're going to see a lot of what they really are this year, and I'm really excited for it. But I do have them coming in 4th. My record prediction, I do have their ceiling being 10-7 and their floor being 6-11. I just really don't see this team wowing me too much this year, and it is JJ's first year, so I will give him some grace, and I'm totally ready to eat crow. But as of right now, I got the Vikings in 4th, and that means in 3rd I do have the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, I just don't know if Caleb's the guy. He didn't blow me away last year, and I know, it was his rookie year, but I just wasn't blown away by him. He has a new head coach, but rookie head coach jitters do worry me a little bit, so we'll see what he's got. I can see this team being good, but I can also see this team being really bad. So we'll see what they got. I think Roma Dunze has to step it up in year 2. He was not very good last year, and I was not impressed with him whatsoever last year, so I'm excited to see what he's got in year 2. I think their O-line is much improved, though. I think this team will be able to run the ball, get Caleb time to throw the ball. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what the Chicago Bears will be next year. I think the ceiling for them is also 10-7, and their floor being 6-11, just like the Vikings. But I do think the Bears are going to be better than the Vikings next year. That's the way I'm feeling about it, and I can't wait to see it. Number 2, I really thought about putting the Green Bay Packers in the number 1 spot, but I'm just not blown away by anything they have offensively. I think Jordan Love's injuries worry me a lot. His thumb, his knee, I'm just not sure he's going to be 100% this year, and I'm not excited to see him struggle. I like Jordan Love. I like this team. I think they have a lot of good opportunities, but I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to capitalize it against the better teams in the NFC. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have to carry this team quite a lot. I think they need a career year out of Josh Jacobs in order for this team to be good. I think their defense wows me a lot. I think they have a lot of depth at a lot of key spots, especially I like their defensive line a lot. I think this team is going to be good on defense, but their offense just worries me, especially without a true number 1 wide receiver. I just have more questions than answers with this team. So the ceiling for this team, I do have them being 11-6 and their floor being 8-9. I think this team's going to be good. I think they're going to be hovering around 500, maybe a little bit above 500 is what I'm predicting this team to be. That means number 1 is the Detroit Lions. I like the Lions a lot. I know they lost both coordinators, and I think you can say what you will about me predicting them to win their division, but I think Goff is a good quarterback, and he has the potential to be great. I think it's a make it or break it year for Jared Goff, though. He has to make it to the Super Bowl or it's a bust, and I would think about moving off of Jared Goff if they do not make it to the Super Bowl this year. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is full-time running back 1, and I cannot wait for it. In a lot of your fantasy drafts, expect him going number 1 overall, if not in the top 3, top 5 of most drafts. I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is phenomenal. I'm blown away every single time he touches the ball. I really liked him coming out of college, and I really love him here in Detroit. I think they had so many injuries last year that it was really hard to predict that all of that was going to happen to them, and they were still the number 1 seed. I think it was number 1 or number 2 seed. I can't remember, but I don't think they can be worse than last year. I really do not think they can be worse. So I do have this team. I also have their ceiling being 11-6 and their floor being 8-9. I really like this Detroit team a lot. I could even see them getting to that 12th win with their ceiling, but without those coordinators, that's why I have their floor being so low. But yeah, this is the NFC North for me. I got the number one spot going to the Detroit Lions, followed by the Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, and Minnesota Vikings. Next up is the NFC East, coming in at number 4. Sorry, Cowboy fans, but I got you guys right here. I do not trust this team at all. I think their run game is really, really bad. I just don't expect them to do anything this year. I really do not. I think their O-line is not as good as it has been in the past years. And I'm just not blown away by anything that this team has. I think if you double Micah Parsons on this team, I don't think this team can do anything on defense. And I think their offense is still good with CD and Dak, but if you're throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game, I just don't seeing that being a recipe for success. And I do genuinely believe as long as Jerry Jones is managing this team the way he is managing them, I do not expect this team to be good. I think their ceiling is 9-8, barely above 500. I think their floor is 5-12, and I'm leaning towards them being more closer to their floor than their ceiling. Next, number 3, I do have the New York Giants. I do not think Russell Wilson is as bad as people think he is. I think he just needs a perfect situation in order for him to thrive. And I don't think he has been in a perfect situation since he left Seattle. I think Seattle let him do his thing, let him cook a little bit. And I do understand he's taken a step down from his days in Seattle for sure, but I do not think he is a bottom tier quarterback in my opinion. Maybe top 25. I know that's still kind of bottom, but that's kind of where I have Russ, and I expect Russ to be competent, especially in this New York team. I think Tracy and Singletary is going to have to compete together to make this team very, very good. I would definitely have them be a dynamic running back duo, and I really like this team going forward. I think Malik Neighbors needs to step it up in year 2, and I do expect him to do so. I expect him to be fed the ball a lot, and I really like this team, especially their defensive line. I'm blown away by how talented their defensive line looks with Thibodeau. Say what you will about him, but adding Abdul Carter just makes this team even more ferocious. You're going to struggle to run the ball against this team. I do have their ceiling being 9-8 and their floor being 6-11. I wouldn't be surprised if this team made the playoffs, to be 100% honest with you. They are a dark horse team to me, but I just can't do it. I just can't put them over the top for sure. Next is the Washington Commanders. I do have this. I am high on this Commanders team for sure, and it's not going to sound that way, but I am high on them. But I am predicting a sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels. The reason I say it's a sophomore slump is he was phenomenal last year. He was keeping them in those one-score games and winning a lot of those games. But statistics show those one-score games typically go the other way the next year, and I expect that to happen for this team. Their defense is old, and I really don't like that. And I don't understand what they're doing at running back with the rumors of them wanting to trade Brian Robinson and even scary Terry McLaurin. I just don't know what they're doing with him. I really don't. There's more questions on this team than I have answers, and I'm not excited for all the turmoil that is going on with the Washington Commanders. But I'm definitely ready to be wrong, but as of right now, that's kind of what I'm leaning for this team. I think their ceiling is 11-6, and I think their floor is 7-10. I expect this team to be good. I do, but I don't expect them to be as good as last year. Not close to last year, in my opinion. Next is the Eagles. I'll be honest, even with the 5 defensive players that they lost, I think they just reloaded. Their depth on defense was insane last year, and it's not as deep as it was last year, but I expect this team to still be as good as they were last year, if not better in a lot of key areas. But when I say better, I mean better than the rest of the division. They are still, in my opinion, the NFC least. I do not trust the Cowboys at all. The Giants are iffy. Commanders, like I said, I am predicting Jaden Daniels to have a sophomore slump, so I think the Eagles are just the best team in this division, kind of by a mile. I think they need to not forget what made them so good last year. Run the ball. The running was phenomenal for this team. I've said phenomenal a lot in this video, but it was extraordinary for this team, especially with Saquon. Just remember, give him some breathing room, I guess. Give him time to breathe. Do not put Saquon in a position where he's going to get injured this year, because you need him. Without Saquon, this offense does not flow the same. So run the ball, but keep Saquon healthy for sure. And I do predict Jalen Hurts to be in the top 3 conversation for MVP. I don't understand the hate on Jalen Hurts, not at all. I think, in my opinion, he's a top 5 quarterback. He's hovering right around at that 5 spot. If not, I would move him into maybe the 3 or 4 spot. But I think Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. Like I said phenomenal again. But I think this team is super good, and I really, really like Jalen Hurts. And I expect this team to be up there contending for the NFC again. I do have their ceiling being 14-3. When I was looking at their schedule, they have a first place schedule, but a lot of the teams that they're playing, they're just better than them, and I expect them to be so. And even their floor, I have them being 10-7. This team just blows me away in so many ways. I'm very excited to see this Eagles team, and that's why I have the Eagles at the top spot in the NFC East, followed by the Commanders, the Giants, and the Cowboys. Moving over to the NFC South, at number 4, if you are surprised by this, I feel bad for you. It is the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are absolutely trash. I think they have no threat at quarterback, and I do not understand how your options are Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shook. I just genuinely don't understand. I probably said his last name wrong. I apologize, but I do not understand how those are your 2 options at quarterback. There are so many free agents. Go get Jameis Winston from the Giants. Go get Danny Dimes. Actually, they just confirmed that he's starting for the Colts, so whatever the hell that means. Go get Anthony Richardson. Go get somebody else. I don't understand how you have the 2 options between these 2, and I'm not trying to hurt any feelings, but 2 below average quarterbacks. Why are those your options? I do not understand. I think Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are wasted on this dumpster fire of a team, and it just grinds my gears that they are this incompetent. I think their offense is serviceable. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything if they had a better quarterback, but it would be better than this. And I'm not saying go get a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, anybody like that. Go get somebody who is serviceable. This team bugs me so bad, and I really think they just need to genuinely rebuild. Trade all your pieces. Start from the ground up. Start from scratch. Whatever you need to do. I think the ceiling for this team is 4-13, and I genuinely think their floor is 0-17. I am not blown away by this team whatsoever, and I do not expect this team to be anywhere close to the playoffs this year. Now, moving over, number 3, I do have the Carolina Panthers. I like the Panthers on paper a lot. I do think it's a make it or break it year for Bryce. I just don't expect him to get a contract extension if he does not play well this year. So, Bryce, I am genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I am rooting for you. I like Bryce Young. I liked him when he was at Alabama. I like him. I want him to succeed in this league. I love the Tet McMillan pickup for this team. Giving Bryce a genuine number 1 wide receiver was a phenomenal move. I am very, very happy with that. Sorry, I said phenomenal again. I'm going to keep saying it. Defense definitely needs to step it up this year. I expect them to do so as well, but I don't expect them to be contending very much for that top spot in their division. But I like this team. I like them as a dark horse. I don't expect them to be in the playoffs, but if they made it, I would be genuinely happy. I think their ceiling is 8-9. I think they're a couple of pieces away from this team being really, really good, but I do have their floor being 4-13, which is kind of where I'm leaning right now. More in the middle of these 2 predictions. Number 2, surprising some of you and surprising myself, I do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So for the Buccaneers, I think they will be playing that first place schedule, and I do think that they will struggle a little bit more than last year. I love the wide receiver room for this team. It is insane on paper. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then they added Emeka Ibuka. I am blown away by how talented this wide receiver core is. I'm not sure how good Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are going to be because they've been injured. They've been hampered a little bit, but I think Baker's is going to be really, really good for this team, and I like the Bucs a lot on paper, but it just worries me a little bit because they typically struggle against Atlanta. So we'll talk about Atlanta shortly, but I think with Bucky Irving and Rashid White, I think they have to step it up this year for this team to be as successful offensively as I think they will. And I have no worries on offense. Todd Bowles is a really good defensive-minded head coach, and I expect their defense to be competent, but I really expect this team to tie with the Falcons, but I do expect the Falcons to win the tiebreaker against Atlanta. I expect Atlanta to win the tiebreaker against Tampa. So we will see that. The ceiling I have for this team is 10-7. The floor I have is 8-9. I really think this team is going to be competing very, very heavily with the number one spot, which is the Atlanta Falcons. I think Penix, if he stays healthy, I think the sky's the limit for this team. I think he has the potential, and I know this is almost heresy to say, but I think if he stays healthy, I think he has potential to be better than Matt Ryan ever was for this team, and I genuinely believe that. I think Michael Penix is a tremendous talent, and I'm genuinely jealous that the Atlanta Falcons have him on their roster. I think this is going to be a huge Bijan Robinson season. I really expect him to step it up. I expect this team to kind of mimic a lot of the things that made the Philadelphia Eagles really good last year. Running the ball heavily, but having those passing plays that are very good. I don't mind Drake London. I think he's fine. I think he's a good wide receiver. I'm just not sure if he's a wide receiver number one, but I'm excited to see him step it up. I hope this team is going to be good. I didn't even mention Kyle Pitts because what else can I say about Kyle Pitts? I don't expect him to do much because he hasn't in years past. So we'll see. I think the depth on this defense is really, really good though. I really like this Atlanta team. Like I said, I expect them to be tied pretty much the entire season with Tampa, but last year they swept Tampa in both the games that they played them. So I expect that to be a similar case this year. I do have the ceiling being 10-7, the floor being 8-9. And that's why I have the Atlanta Falcons at the number one spot in the NFC South, followed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and New Orleans Saints. All right, now we are officially at the NFC West, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I swapped all of these teams so many times before I finally came to the conclusion that I came to. So I'm going to offend some people, but probably not. I do have the Arizona Cardinals. I really wanted to put the Niners here just because the Niners don't impress me on offense at all, except for Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. For the Arizona Cardinals, I'll be honest, I do not think Kyler Murray is the guy. I don't see it. I barely saw it in college, and I just don't think he has that fire that I want in my starting quarterback. I just don't see it. I do expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to step it up, and they need him to have a great sophomore year. And I'm thinking that he will, but we'll see. I just don't know how I feel about James Conner for the run game. I just don't see him bursting through the holes that he was when he was a little bit younger. Now, he's had a little bit too many injuries, in my opinion. I don't expect James Conner to be up with the upper echelon of running backs in this league. I think this defense got a lot better. They added Josh Sweat. I think this defense is going to be really good, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't trust Kyler Murray. I have their ceiling being 7-10. I have their floor being 5-12. I don't expect this team to be sniffing the playoffs, but I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be. Number 3, I do have the San Francisco 49ers, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. They just do not blow me away on offense. I forgot about Kittle. Kittle and CMC are kind of the only things that I like about this offense. I just think if you double Kittle, Purdy will struggle to throw the ball on this offense. He does not have a true number one wide receiver. I think you have maybe 2 number 2s and 1 number 3 that you think is a number 2. And I just don't see it for this team. I'm not blown away by anything that they have on offense besides Kittle and CMC. So we'll see. But what does Christian McCaffrey have left? He's had a lot of injuries. Last year, he was hampered quite heavily. What does he have left? I'm excited to see it. It's going to be good football for sure. I think they lost a lot of key pieces, and they did not replace them with meaningful players, in my opinion. I'm not blown away by this team like I have been in years past. They don't scare me in a lot of ways like they used to. I'm kind of really disappointed with the Niners, unfortunately. I think their ceiling is 10-7, and I think their floor is 8-9. The only reason I have their their predictions of their schedule being higher is because the schedule they have is very cupcake. I expect this team to win games, but I expect them to struggle against really good teams. It took everything in me not to put the Seahawks at number 1. I'll be 100%. And I know it was the preseason, but those 2 preseason games, man, they blew me away. I'm so excited for this year. I think the Seahawks are going to be up there, but I had to take my hat off and think of this realistically. I think the Seahawks are the number 2 team in the NFC West. I think their O-line has improved a lot. I love Gray Zabel. I really do. I think this team is going to be able to run the ball a lot. They have running backs galore. I was telling my friend Mike, I absolutely think the Seattle Seahawks are a running back factory. I was watching just our second preseason game against the Chiefs. We have 5 running backs genuinely on our roster that could start, and it's phenomenal. We have K9. We have Zach Charbonnet. We have McIntosh. We have the 2 rookies that I saw that I don't remember their names right now. Anybody could run through this team, genuinely. I think JSN is going to have a career year. I really do. I think he's going to be a tremendous number 1 weapon, and even if you double him, I think just JSN is going to be up there with, and I know this is heresy saying this about some of the greatest players that are in the league currently, but I expect him to be up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson when we're talking about the best wide receivers in the league. I think he is a phenomenal talent. He just has ways of getting open, and his hands are like glue. He just catches anything that is thrown his way, and I really love JSN. So, and I really expect our defense to be even better than they were last year. And we were a top 5 defense last year. But I think we have just made improvements in such meaningful ways. Our defensive line is disgusting because we added DeMarcus Lawrence. Boye Mafe is great. I'm really blown away by my team. And and like I said, I'm being a homer a little bit, but I think our ceiling is 12-5. I really do. When I'm looking at our schedule, if our defense shows up in all of these games, I'm like, shit, I think we're going to win a lot of games. I think our floor is 9-8. I think our floor is usually 9-8 just because we usually hover around 500. Last year we were 10-7, even with an offense that wasn't phenomenal. So I said phenomenal again. God damn it. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Seahawks are going to be really good, and I'm really excited to see the Seahawks next year. That means the number 1 is the LA Rams. So for the Rams, I put a caveat on this. If Stafford is hurt, this team will do absolutely nothing this year. Jimmy G is not going to carry this team. I do not believe it whatsoever. So this is all banking on Stafford being healthy. And he showed up to practice and he was in full pad. So I'm expecting Stafford to play and be meaningful when he's playing. Is Kyren Williams the guy? I know I talked a little bit of shit on him last year, and then he kind of made me eat crow a little bit, but I'm just not convinced. I'm not sure if he's the running back 1 that this team needs, but we'll see. I think their defense is disgusting, absolutely filthy. They are so talented, so much depth. They lost Aaron Donald, and then they replaced him with I forget his first name, but Verse, and he's just as good. That's hard comparison, but he's great, and I'm so damn sick of the Rams being good. I just want them to struggle and be bad for a little while, but I digress. I think Puka will be treated even more like a wide receiver 1. And we'll see. We'll see if he can live up to that pedigree. I think not having Cooper Kupp at all on their team is going to be a little bit weird for them. But I still expect their ceiling to be 12-5, and I do expect them to be right around that 12-5 spot. I think their floor is 10-7. I don't really doubt that this team is going to win the division, unfortunately. So that's why I have the NFC West standings being number 1, LA Rams, 2, Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, and the Arizona Cardinals. And that leads us into my playoff prediction for the NFC. Coming in at the number 7 seed, I do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just don't expect anybody to be able to stop the 3-headed passing attack that they have on this team. The only thing is maybe their offensive line is going to struggle a little bit, but I think this team is really good on paper, and I really like Baker with Emeka Ibuka, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. I think this team is going to be really, really good, and I cannot wait to see this offense every single week. It's going to be really fun to watch. Number 6, I do have my Seattle Seahawks. I expect the Seahawks to make the playoffs this year. I expect us to have a top 5 defense again, and I expect our offense to be competent enough to make the playoffs and make a meaningful impact for sure. Number 5, I do have the Green Bay Packers. I expect the Packers to be there. They have a lot of great talent on this team, and I expect them to be able to do a lot of great things against a lot of the lesser competition that they will be facing this year. Number 4, I do have the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to win their division. I don't expect them to do much in the playoffs. I think they're still a few pieces away, but I expect them to be tied with Tampa, but have those tiebreakers against Tampa. Number 3, I do have the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are going to be really good this year, and I'm really excited for them, but losing both their coordinators, I expect them to be a little bit less good than they have been in the last couple of years, but I expect them to be still fighting for those spots, and I do expect Jared Goff. Well, expectations are high for Jared Goff, in my opinion. I really think Jared Goff is going to do a lot for this team, and I'm really excited to see what they can do, especially with all their players healthy. Number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to be really, really good, but I expect them to also not be as good as they were last year, but still really good. That's why the number 1 seed I have being the LA Rams. I think the Rams are going to be really good, unfortunately, because I hate the Rams. But I think the Rams, I just don't see a lot of flaws on this team besides Stafford. And like I said, all of this is banking on if Stafford is healthy throughout the entire year. That leads us to the NFC Championship game predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to ruffle some feathers for sure. That's why I have the Seattle... No, I'm just kidding. I wish I had my Seahawks there. But I have the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are going to make it. I really do. I think they're going to make it to the NFC Championship game. I expect their defense to be healthy and really good this year. And I expect their offense to be good enough to remain good this year. And I'm very, very high on this Detroit Lions team. And the team that they'll be playing is the Seattle... No, I'm just kidding. It's the LA Rams, unfortunately. I think the Rams are going to be really good. And if this happens to be the NFC Championship game, this is going to be one of the greatest games. It's going to be Jared Goff against his old team, Matt Stafford against his old team. I can't wait. I hope this happens because this is going to be just the best football game ever, man. I'm so excited for this, if this happens. And leaning over to the NFC Champion that I am predicting. This is going to shock you guys. I have the Detroit Lions winning the NFC. This is probably a controversial pick, but I like the Lions a lot on paper, and I just don't expect them to be as defensively hampered as they were last year, because they scored so many points last year, and they were really, really good, but they just couldn't get out of their own way because their defense was so injured last year. So I expect them to put it together, and I expect the Detroit Lions to win the NFC. And guys, that is my early season predictions. We will be back, I think it's 2 weeks from now, to talk about our week 1 predictions. I'm so excited. NFL season is here, and I'm very, very excited. It's going to be a great time. Join me for the journey. I appreciate you guys watching. Next week's video, I haven't decided what it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure we have another game review coming out. I think we're going to do Sword of the Sea, so keep an eye out for that. I think that's what the game's called. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for dealing with me, and I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you next time.